In this video, we're going to check out the API call node. I've got a workflow here in BuildShip that is triggered by the REST API call trigger. We're going to add a new node here, so I'm just going to open this up, called the API call trigger. This is one that's provided by BuildShip, making API calls a breeze. This is going to allow you to make API calls to any endpoint using this node. So let's try it out. So we've got a couple fields here. If I click here on the I can actually get a description for what each of these is. We've got the HTTP method for this call, the body for this call, the content type, the URL, the authorization headers, and whether this is synchronous or not. Let's talk about this synchronicity for a second. What does synchronous or await mean in this context? Well, imagine you're working in an office and need some information from a colleague in a different department. A synchronous request for this would be to go over to their desk, stand there, wait for them to provide the information, have a little conversation, and you can't really do any other work until you have that information and can get back to your desk. An asynchronous request would be that you send your colleague an email with that request and then get back to work. You don't have to wait. You can keep going with other tasks. And when your colleague has that information, they'll send it by email, and then you can check it at a later point. Likewise for APIs, if this were a synchronous request, that is, I would set await to true, then this workflow would wait until this API call is finished, and then go on to the next node. If this weren't a synchronous request, if I were to set await to false, then the response from that API call is not relevant to us. We just want to send off that info and keep going in our workflow. So that covers the fields, but let's actually put a request in here. How about I'll make this a GET request. I'm going to set the URL to be the request sample API to get a list of users. We're going to make this synchronous and use that response to send in our response. So let's go ahead and send that response. Let's use the return node here, set the status code to 200, and set the value to be the API call's response, the data. And with that, we're done. Let's go ahead and ship this workflow. Great. Now that this is deployed, let's copy that endpoint and head on over to Hopscotch to try it out. Cool. So here we are, going to send in a GET request to our new API. Going to hit send here. And there you have it, our JSON response with that content. Head back over to BuildShip. So there you have it. We've added the node, we've tried in some values, and now we've got a working API that calls another API. But this is just a starting point. Expand this any way you like to build your ideas with a powerful backend. See you in the next video.